Elite Gaming.
What's up guys, it's Andrew at EliteGamingHQ, and if you're following the channel, you would know 2 weeks ago I did a video of an $800 gaming PC. This was a Ryzen build, and I feel like $800 to $1,000 is the sweet spot. We also did a full system build for $1,000 in that video. Well, in this build, I want to do an $800 Intel build. A lot of people have asked for it, and it's not something I do a lot on the channel because I feel like the best bang for your buck is Ryzen, although Intel offers very good processors, and gamers are interested in Intel, so I just can't neglect them. In this video, we'll go over the parts list. I'll give you some advice how to balance the pressure in your case for optimum cooling, and we're also going to go through some benchmarks, which wow, that just seems to add days to these videos. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know, make sure you hit the thumbs up and join the notification squad. One more thing before we get into the video, this video is designed for people who want to try their hand and build their own computer. This is my recommendation of parts. But if you don't want to do any of that and you want to have the benchmarks that are in this video with your gaming computer without building it, you can head over to my website. I'll be selling two brand new of this model, as well as maybe some more in the future. Of course, it's not going to cost $800. It's going to be around $900 plus shipping, but you're also going to get Windows, everything updated, including BIOS, and it'll be stress test. It'll come to you in a box, 2420 by 12. You'll just open it up, plug it in, install your games, and play. That's all you have to do. You could also upgrade it with an SSD, better hard drive, anything you want. That's all on my site. The link to the site will be pinned to the first comment below if you're interested. Check it out. But I wasted enough of your time. Let's get into the video. Let's look at the parts. So we're going to go over to Amazon and obviously number one, and we're going to pick out our i5 8400. Amazon has it right now for $178.99, which this is the first step into the entry level of the Coffee Lake i5s, the first of its time that have 6 cores. This is a 6-core, 6-thread processor, and basically most people are finding this is a good processor for 1080p gaming. It's certainly going to provide enough horsepower to give you 60 FPS or more in every game, and we're going to take a look at that in the benchmarks at the end of the video. Next, for a motherboard, we're going to go with a Z370 motherboard, so we're going to go with a Gigabyte Z370P, and this comes in at $105. And the reason why I recommend a Z370, you could cheap out and get some other motherboards that have different chipsets, but a lot of them are not out of the box compatible with the Coffee Lake processors. So basically what you have to do, you have to put an older processor into your motherboard, update its BIOS UEFI to the most recent update before you can put in your processor. That's going to be a huge pain in the ass for anybody just building a computer. So we're going to skip all that and go right for a Z370. The difference is not huge. We're looking at $20–$25, a markup from a different chipset, so it's not a big deal. Plus you're getting everything you need. This board has plenty of USB 3.0, you got 4 RAM slots, you got PCI Express 3.0, you have everything you need. So this is a good budget board. It's all around has everything. You could even start off and add in an M.2 drive if you wanted. Next, we're going to look at some RAM. For this budget build, we're going to stick with 8 gigabytes. If you would like 16 gigabytes, it's going to be something like $160 around there. Generally 8 gigabytes right now is about $80 to $90, which is not bad at all. I just picked out some random Patriot. It's 2400 megahertz. It doesn't really matter. The RAM frequency does not change your overall gaming experience so much. You end up paying a lot more for a little bit of frames. If you're going to do something like that, invest money into a better video card. That's what I always say in this situation. RAM's kind of like 3rd or 4th in the line of what's going to affect your gaming experience. But the RAM's functional and it'll do its job. Next, still on Amazon, we're going to pick ourselves up a 1TB Western Digital drive. Now the difference in a Ryzen build is we had a little more money to play with, and I recommended a 500 gigabyte M.2 drive, basically an SSD, and you were going to get a very fast gaming experience. But it was about double the price, and for this build to keep it around $800, we're going to have to stick with the Western Digital drive. Now I highly recommend, if you have the extra money, to pick up an SSD. It would take this computer from great to amazing. Even if you only have 250 gigabytes, you're going to be able to put your OS and your games like Fortnite, Overwatch, all that stuff right on there. It's going to work out great. And then you would still have your 1TB. But if we're staying at $800, the 1TB's the way to go. All right, next we're going to need a power supply. And as I always recommend, Thermaltake. Thermaltake Smart Series 500 watt power supply, 5-year warranty. This is an 80 plus power supply, sleeved cables, works out great. Some power supplies you buy, the cables seem to be a little short and you have issues like that. This one's great. I can tuck all the cables behind the case, loop them around the motherboard and bring them back through the front without having any kind of problems. It just makes it aesthetically cleaner. And I always highly recommend these power supplies. It's usually this, EVGA or Corsair. It's almost every build I do as far as power supplies. And for sub $40, years, you're getting a really quality part here. All right, next for our video card, we're going to go over to Newegg. Newegg's going to offer us an Asus GeForce GTX 1060 6GB, which is the highlight of this build. Now, there's been a lot of talk lately about, do you go with a 1060 or a 1050 Ti? Will they be future-proof for a couple years in the future? And I can absolutely tell you my opinion is yes, if you get a GTX 1060 6GB, it's still going to be a good graphics card years to come, especially if you're playing in 1080p. The card beasts basically every game over 60 FPS, and you have plenty of memory for the new textures and everything that's going to come out in newer games. I can guarantee you that in 2 years, you're still going to be able to play games in medium 60 FPS with this video card. And right now, you're going to be playing games in high to ultra. And at that point, maybe you might want to get something different, or you could rock it for another 2 years. Right now, the 1060s are floating around $270 to $290. I think that's a good price for them. I don't think they're too overpriced. I get tired of hearing people say building computers is too expensive right now, because that's not a huge markup of where they were when they first came out. It's actually a good price. But there you have it. Pick yourself up a 6GB GTX 1060 if it's in our $800 price range. Now lastly, we're going to go for a case and fans. For a case, we're going to go to SuperBiz, and we're going to get a Fractal Design black case with white LEDs. This case is pretty awesome. I really like the aesthetic of it. I have it over on my Instagram where I post pictures of a lot of my builds. You can see it's just beautiful. I'll pop some pictures up here. It works out great. I mean, it's not a super expensive case. We are in a budget build. For $45, it's pretty great. You got a nice acrylic side panel. It comes with 2 front fans, so we're going to have to buy 2 more fans, which still at SuperBiz, we're going to pick up 2 Thermaltake 120mm white fans. These are white LEDs, and like the pictures I have shown, you're going to put 1 fan in the back and 1 fan in the top, which is going to give you a 2 in, 2 out situation, which I feel like is about perfect that you're going to get. This case also allows you to put a 240mm radiator in the top if you want to do something like that, but don't do that with a locked i5. It's just something to note, because in the future, if you do get something that you can overclock, like a Ryzen processor or maybe an 8600K Intel or an i7 from Intel, you'll be able to, overclock and have room in this case for a future upgrade. There you have it. There's the build. I'll put the total on the screen here, and we'll move on to our benchmarks. Alright, first game tested was Fortnite. Fortnite was tested in Epic, which is the highest setting the game offers, and we got an average FPS of 80, dropping down to a low of 67, which means 60 FPS monitor, Fortnite is just gonna run smooth and you're gonna have no problems. But if you have a 144Hz monitor, you're one of those guys, you can turn shadows off, put everything else on high, and the game was an average of about 140 FPS. This is great news, because this shows that that game is not very demanding and how optimized it actually is. Speaking about optimization, let's go to the next game, the most unoptimized game on the market, and that would be PUBG, I feel. PUBG on high, we were able to get 73 FPS average, dropping down to 59, so once again, 60 FPS all around, because if you ran a 60Hz monitor, it's not going to be running balls to the wall to get to 73. You would sit at 60 and you would never see that drop to 59. Not that you would notice it anyway. But that's PUBG for you. I've benchmarked it a million times in the past, and they've put out multiple different updates trying to optimize the game and make it better, but for most cases the game runs like a dumpster fire. There's just no way around it. Next, Overwatch. Overwatch, one of the best optimized games on the market. We're running an Epic, which is the highest setting in 1080p, and we got an average of 120 FPS and a low of 105, so yeah, no problems there. Overwatch runs great. Thinking about it now, maybe I should have benchmarked into 1440p just for kicks, but I didn't think about it at the time. It's not necessary. Next, GTA 5. GTA 5 on very high. We got 105 FPS average, dropping down to 73. This was through gameplay, not the broken benchmark. I basically ran a couple tests of the game for 6 minutes to get my averages, and they all aggregated to about 105. Alright, Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 is also a very good optimized game. For what it is, you can run lesser cards and always get 60 FPS. Well, this particular video card and processor setup hit 103 FPS on average and a low of 77. And these are on max settings, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, you're getting over 100 FPS on average on max. So Battlefield 1 is cake. Next, I have 2 more games that are not as popular, but games that are my favorites. Far Cry Primal, an average of 75 and a low of 63. And that's on very high. And then Shadow of War on very high with its benchmark, an average of 74 and a minimum dropping all the way down to 40. Its benchmark has spikes like most benchmark, but I couldn't find my save file, so yes, we just did it that way. So overall, this build is very impressive. As I said before, the 1060 smashes 1080p gaming. It's all that you need. I say this every time I do a video and put this card in. I keep a benchmark rig just for this card set up because this card's so awesome. It's usually one of the first cards I use to benchmark a new game as it's coming out. But once again, if you like the numbers here and you want a complete built system with Windows installed and your drivers just ready to go right out of the box, you can visit my website. I'll be building a few of these and maybe a couple more as time goes on. You go there, pick your case, add anything you want to it. It'll direct you to a secure location through PayPal, and you can pay PayPal direct. That's how the WooCommerce is set up. So I'm happy the website's coming along. I feel like it's a good milestone for what I've been trying to do here, as I've been building customer computers for the past couple years. And in fact, after I finish this computer sitting right over there, I don't have a backlog of computers to build for the first time in like a year, because the holiday season, tax season, it was just always building computers. But this video has gone on long enough. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up if you appreciate the time that I put in to make this video, and be sure to join the notification squad. I'll catch you guys on the next one. E3's this week. That's super exciting. And I'm Andrew. This is Elite Gaming HQ. Thanks for watching, guys.